Welcome back to the show. This is part two of episode 50. Wild Country Signs You Are in a Cult. Enjoy the show.
No, not for me.
No.
And because I didn't have to pay anything to be there. The
Okay.
If people who paid, they would go to classes that were taught that there was this other facility called the university. And that
Mm-hmm.
was a lot of Europeans, a lot of Germans would come over to study with um, specific teachers who
Mm-hmm.
knew a lot of, you guys know, like inner child work and things like, have you ever heard of
I've
that?
heard of it,
Is
yeah.
that
Yeah, that was a
is that a
big
program?
thing in the 70s. What?
Is that a program also? Is it
Yeah, it's
studies?
just a type of, I don't even know how I would describe it because I am not a psychologist, but it was
Mm-hmm.
something that was very popular in the 70s that was like a healing modality, was to get to know this childlike part of yourself and to really heal yourself
Oh, I
by
see.
by
Mm.
by tuning into that wounded child inside of yourself. Well, that was like one of the teachers that was that was his thing. He was really good at that.
Mm.
But there were a lot of different people, loved going to see those different teachers. Now, we could get up and meditate, but then sometimes if at when it was this time when we were really having to start early in the morning, it would have been really hard to make those meditations. I think the meditations were like from 6 to 7 every morning in this one
Mm-hmm.
hall. And, during that, what we called it a crunch, which is like all hands on deck for a building project,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been hard to do that. So only the people who
Mm.
weren't working could manage to fit that in.
So the goal of this whole congregation and everything you're building is like to have like the goal from this guru was to have his own city, his own like city
Yes.
somewhere
Yeah.
safe, clean,
For the new man,
heating,
for where everybody's kind of on a spiritual path.
spiritual part. Okay.
Everybody's focus is self-awareness, self-healing, and yeah, it was definitely, I would say, his whole idea was about bringing together Western psychology that was very
Mm-hmm.
popular in the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some things that I don't know that much about, but like Gestalt therapy, all these different really modern therapy techniques that were super popular back in the olden days before you guys were born.
It's not around anymore.
And to bring that together with Eastern philosophy. And
Okay.
so to combine the two. So he was very untraditional. Other uh, gurus would, they looked askance at him. They just thought he was, um, doing some really odd things from their perspective.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, because he was not traditional. He was not traditional Hindu. He wasn't traditional, you know, any of those. He actually was, his religion was Jain, but he was not traditional as most of the gurus were, and how they ran ashrams. But it was kind of a mix because there
Mm-hmm.
were certain things we would do that were very ashram like at the same time.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
was there a way to move up them from that caste that you guys were as the workers?
From the hammer.
You had to be invited. You had to
Only
be
if you're
invited.
invited.
Oh.
Yeah. And so, you'd be waiting, and it was like, wow, so we all wore these necklaces that were called malas. And the malas had 108 beads on them, which is significant, sort of like a rosary. It's like a prayer bead.
Mm-hmm.
And they were made of rosewood. And then there was a medallion with the picture of Bhagwan on it. So we all wore that, and we all wore various colors of red or orange all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who were residents were given this gold bead that had writing. For some reason, I feel like it was written in Kanto, in like Japanese writing. Can't remember now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even remember what it said, but they would have that. So we would like crave that because I'd have this like wooden purple bead that meant I was temporary. I had that for like the 2.5 years I lived there. I
Mm.
never got invited to be a full-time resident the whole
Would
No,
time I was
someone
there.
try to date a person who was in the higher, like a woman or a man, like try to hook up with someone from the other
to try
Well,
advance.
level?
there's a whole wide range of things from date to hookup. I will say, um, yeah, you're tuning into one thing. It's just that the full-time residents, they lived in very specific places. They had founded the commune
Mhm.
in travel trailers. And
Mhm.
so some of these areas where like tucked into these little valleys would be this like collection of like 8 of these trailers. And a lot of residents would live in those places because that's what had been there before the townhouses were built.
Mhm.
So they lived in those. And then once the townhouses were built, a lot of the newbies like me, we moved from the tents. I mean, I think actually I did get moved into a trailer after living in the tent for about 6 weeks.
Mhm.
Might have even been less. My
That's good.
memory specifically, I can't remember, but we lived in these townhouses. So I did have a boyfriend, and I remember one time I had left the commune, and when I came back, like my housing got crappier.
Mhm.
And so I had this boyfriend. He was like a part-time boyfriend,
Mhm.
and he wasn't my full-time
Hard
boyfriend.
time.
That's a good one.
He was Irish. He had this thick red hair, and he was so cute. And then he was like, "Well, can't you come to see me at my place?" And I'm like, I've got this purple bead, and if someone sees, so I
Mm.
wasn't supposed to go and stay there, but he could come and visit me where I lived. But the problem
Mm.
was, just if you left and when you came and if you got put in this place to live, we all knew each other in different ways. So, like you said about the caste system, it was a little bit of a um, tricky thing because
So
I
Mm.
mean they'd known me for a couple of years, and I'm living in beginner housing because I had to leave for a specific reason for a while. So
so you're
Oh,
not
um,
I
supposed
see.
to mix with somebody who was like another color of beans or
spend the night. You're not supposed to spend the night if you
oh.
were a temp. If you were a temp, in the temporary programs,
Mhm.
you weren't supposed to sleep where the main residents
I see.
slept.
I see. Okay.
The people
Ah.
who'd been there, hadn't left, had been there the whole time. They kind of
Mhm.
got their special place where they didn't have. They could have. It was kind of like their earned
Mhm.
um, sanctuary, and then the rest of us
The little
we were like
walkers.
moving room to room, 3 people in a room. We had to deal
Yeah.
with a lot of other stuff. I think there were even at the time though residents living in the townhouses too, so it did get all kind of mixed up. But there was some element of, you have to be a resident to be in certain places.
So how long
Mm.
did you stay there?
I was there, I think like a year and a half,
And a half
something
walking.
like that. And then I had to leave for certain reasons.
Mhm.
And I was gone for like 6 months or so. And then I came back for like another like 6 or 8 months. And then I
Okay.
left again. And I left like 2 months before the whole commune fell apart.
Also, yeah,
Oh,
because I didn't
2
watch.
months
I didn't
before.
watch the documentary on Netflix. I know it's on Netflix. I think.
Yeah.
So I
Wild,
don't.
wild, wild, wild
What?
country.
So you
Yeah, if
left
you want to know
before.
all about it.
Wait,
Yeah. What happened? Why
yes,
did
I
they
left
follow?
before.
Yeah.
I had
I mean, do you
I
know?
had a relationship with this man, and this uh, man that I knew, he was German. He had lived in India for 8 years, And when he came to Rajneeshpuram, that's when I met him. And he said to me, "Hey, something is weird here. There's
Mm-hmm.
something wrong." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Well, things had started changing, and there had been like suddenly there was a lot of paranoia that the government was trying to close down the commune.
Mm.
We were naively, or I don't know what the best word is, but we did not like read the newspapers. We were kind of like just doing our own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there was all kinds of stuff happening politically. People were not at all happy that the commune was there. The people in
Oh.
Oregon were very upset about it. And we were very nervous about. I remember this one time. Sheila is the person who ran the commune. I'm
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
gonna I'm gonna tell you something. You guys will have no idea what it is because you're way too young.
Way
But she
too
made it.
young. I
Yeah, but
I
she
wish.
love when you
made.
say that.
Well, she made us all go into these rooms and watch a movie called Billy Jack. Did you ever
Mm-hmm.
hear of that movie?
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
Really,
We're
Jack.
also not born here, so maybe it's an American movie we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this movie
Mm.
was very famous because it was sort of a alternative kind of movie about a guy who was part Indian, and the FBI was trying to stop him from doing something. I can't remember, but it kind of coincided with all of those. Do you remember? Well, so you won't remember this either. Lots of Native Americans took control of Alcatraz at one time.
I think I
Oh,
heard
And
about
really?
that.
Mm.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah. And it
I heard about
became
that.
this big sort of standoff between the federal government and the Native
Mm-hmm.
Americans were saying, this is our, right to own this.
Mm-hmm.
And so this movie was reflective of that kind of energy of like the government's trying to control you and you have to fight back against the government. And you might have to die fighting against the government.
Ooh.
And so
Mm.
Sheila was showing us this, and we're like, what the hell?
Trying to groom you.
We're like
It's
lovers,
coming.
not
Like,
fighters. We're like, yeah. And
Peace
so
and love.
oh, please.
things started to get kind of crazy, and we were like some of our freedoms to like move around were being taken away, but
Ooh.
all in the
Mm.
interest of protecting us
Of
and
course.
all this kind of stuff. And so when Gunther came, he was like, "Oh, this is not right." And then we wanted to um, be in the same room. We petitioned to have a room together, and it got denied. And
Mm.
they just were like, they were giving us all kinds of reasons for denying it. And so he said, "Why don't we just leave for a while and experience things outside of the commune?" And I was like,
Mhm.
I thought I was going to live there the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
So that was like, what the hell? And so, but I decided to leave with him. I don't know why, but I did.
I mean, that was good, right?
I
It was
live to
probably the best
regret
thing you
it. No,
did.
I live to regret it. That's another story.
Oh,
But
okay.
Oh, okay. For
yeah,
another podcast.
yeah. But after I left, I remember we decided to go to Lake Tahoe because he was he was German and he wanted to go to Lake Tahoe.
Mm-hmm.
And we were there, and it was the summer, and the TV came on, and they were talking about that Sheila had been arrested trying to
God.
escape through secret tunnels. We're like, what?
Secret
What?
tunnels.
What? Secret tunnels. And all this stuff came out that we did not know. And
Mhm.
watch Wild Wild Country, and
I
you'll
was gonna
see
say I need
I
to watch the show
did.
now.
that.
Yeah,
My
but I had to
You'll
God.
find
rewatch it.
yeah,
Oh, you
same
did?
way.
I did. I
Okay.
watched the whole thing. It was fascinating. Like, wow.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
so
watch it this weekend.
yeah, so
Oh.
she got arrested, and then this other woman started running the commune, and she kind of said, for all of you who left because of how Sheila was, you can all come back now, and it's going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
So we went back, but when we got back, it was very chaotic there still. It was like things were falling apart. It was like going back at the end. And so we left again, and a very good friend of mine whose birthday, it's her birthday, Krista's birthday today. She's
Happy
my friend from the
birthday.
commune.
Happy birthday.
You still in contact?
Yes, I'm going to be calling her to say happy birthday. She was Gunter's girlfriend before he met me. And we both are rid of Gunter, but we're still friends.
Gunter.
So she stayed. So she told me all about how it was at the end, and they closed everything up. Like,
wow.
They cleared all the pipes of all the water, and they closed everything up really tight as if everybody would come back. But nobody was able to come back. Rajneesh flew away, and the commune eventually closed down.
Wow.
So years later, after I was married and had kids, my husband and I were traveling that way, and he goes, "Let's go visit." And I was like, my heart started racing. And we went into the Antelope Cafe, and somebody came into the cafe and said, "Can I go see the commune, where the commune was?" And they go, "Oh yeah, it's a summer camp there now. It's a Christian summer camp, and you can take tours."
Christian.
So I heard this. I was so nervous. I didn't want anyone to know I had been a sannyasin or lived there, because people in that area, they hated us.
Yeah.
And so my husband's like, "Oh, we have to go. We have to go on this tour." So I had my kids. We drove out there. It seemed so much further away this time. And we got on this little bus, van, and women drove us around, and she was like, "And over there, that's where we have, arts and crafts. Now that used to be where the Rajneeshees would do their, meditation." I'd be like, say to my husband, I built that.
I've been
like seeing all the things I built, and like we had this huge, massive auditorium that we built. It was theoretically the world's largest greenhouse. It was huge. And that is where we'd have these big meetings with Rajneesh, where he would speak, and we'd all sit around on the floor and listen to him. Thousands of people. 10,000 people would come for the summer.
Wow.
10,000 of people. Well, they had turned that into like this huge gymnasium with volleyball and rock climbing walls and all that. It was very cool.
Wow.
So it's very fun to see that, because it had been a really cool, beautiful place, that it was still like what we had built did not become a ghost town.
Yeah.
Now that was several years ago, so I don't know if it's still there. That was like, God, at least 10 years ago.
What part of Oregon is that?
Maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It's
Portland.
Central Oregon.
Oregon.
It's near Madras,
okay.
Oregon. Like north of Bend. It's way out there. It was called the Big Muddy Ranch originally.
Oh.
And
wow.
This his name is what's his name? I'm sorry.
Rajneesh.
Rajneesh. Is he still alive?
No. He died.
He died? Okay.
Yeah.
You said he flew away, so he went back to India?
Well,
when all of this happened.
He got arrested, right?
Fly.
He got arrested?
He got arrested. And he got arrested basically for overstaying his visa. That was what he got arrested
With
for.
all that money, he couldn't get a green card?
No.
Building a city and everything?
No, they wouldn't give him a green card. No.
And he couldn't get married with somebody in the congregation?
It didn't work. He was too much of a public figure in some sense to do things. So he wound up going to jail, and then they said, "Listen, they made some deal, like, we won't keep you here, but you have to leave the country." So he got on the plane, and he tried to fly to Uruguay. And Uruguay would not accept him. And then they tried to fly someplace else. I can't remember. I think it was in Africa. They would
Mm-hmm.
not accept him. His private plane got refused. And he
Wow.
finally wound up going back to India.
Yeah.
So, for all of you listeners out there, Rajneesh became Osho. And many of you will know Osho because people post Osho memes
Oh
on
yeah.
the internet and Instagram all the time. And I have to laugh
Oh sure.
because Osho's very, very popular in terms of one of those people who gets quoted all the time.
Oh.
And
Uh-huh.
so a lot of sannyasins stayed with him and he totally changed his name. He kind of rebranded himself
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
and kept like a much smaller community that was more of a university, like spiritual tourism university type of place where they had a lot
Mm.
of programs in India. And I've met people after, through the years since then. It's been gosh darn it, it's been 30,
Wow.
40 years or something since then. I've met people who are like, oh, I'm a disciple of Yosho. And I'm like, really? That's interesting.
Me
But,
too.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, so what is
What
your
a
takeaway
life.
from all that? Like what do you think he
Yeah.
was there was um it was authentic, was like, they had good intentions, they did not take advantage of people. What do you think? Or it's a mix of all of that
Mm-hmm.
together, you know? What did you feel about it after all these years, looking back?
Looking back, I what the main lesson for me personally is now after that happened, I became very wary of religious people who are religious who um, actually want to control you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's so easy for people like myself and other people. You're like looking to find answers, and you think, oh, I've met this person who seems to have more information than I do, and you're like, I want to learn, I want to discover things. Well, then you find that there are a lot of people who take advantage of that, and the reason I believe that they take advantage of it is not because they have the goal of taking advantage of people. They have the goal of self survival. How am I going to
Mm-hmm.
make money? Well, I'll make money if I get enough people to give me money. you know, oh, I
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
have to
Yeah,
hold,
true.
I have to hold myself that I have more information than them and that they have to come to me to get their answers. Oh, that's how I'll and
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it starts out ever. I mean, I don't know. Some people may plot, oh, I'll become a guru but I think for a lot of people, and I'm talking about all the different types of spiritual practices, and it's churches,
Mm-hmm.
new age, yoga teachers. I
Mm-hmm.
remember I
Yeah,
went to
it
it.
is true.
I
Like
went
every
I went to a yoga class one time, and this guy, I went, oh man, this dude is on a guru trip. He
Oh
really
yeah.
thinks, yeah. And I'm like, I'm not doing this yoga class again. So I am super like tuned in to
Mm-hmm.
when I feel like I can keep my crown
Mm-hmm.
chakra,
Mm-hmm.
own it for myself. And if I start to tune in and that someone else thinks that they have seniority over me, that their information is more valuable than what my own personal information is, I just get the heck out of there.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Some
so
people,
that's the main thing I learned.
yeah, some
Awesome.
people they cannot handle, having too much power. And after, when they have all those people following, like you say, that maybe they didn't start with that mentality of controlling people. Sometimes I'm sure it's coming from a good place.
Yeah.
But when you have so much power, after all, you see that people are doing anything you want, they just follow you, and you just clap your
Well, we
fingers.
all we all want to be admired.
Yeah, but some people, I don't think they can handle it.
We all want to be loved. I mean, I wonder,
Mhm.
how does Taylor Swift handle that? You
Oh
know,
my God!
Jane, you're not talking about Taylor
I mean, come
Swift.
on.
Please,
Do you not think that?
please,
I mean, when you look at
please,
those thousands and thousands and thousands of people, how
please.
can you not think
Taylor Swift.
I'm special? I'm
Oh
special. I'm
my
more
God.
special than other
I know.
people.
Well, we don't get it,
It's
so
tough. Well, no, I'm just saying
yeah.
whoever has that, you know,
Yeah.
athletes,
No, no, no. I mean, I
politicians,
couldn't.
everybody. It's
Yeah.
it's very hard. In certain cultures, I will say, are more prone to idealize people and put people
Hmm.
on a pedestal. Um, you know, it's part of, it can be cultural training, it can be deference to others' wisdom and other seniority. I mean, there's a certain value in that, the value of respect and all of that. But when you start to give up your own power to someone else,
Yeah.
that's a problem.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
After the commune fell apart, I wanted nothing to do with that kind of thing. And many of the disciples, including Gunter, decided to go to India and find other gurus to follow
Mm.
or stayed with Osho. I decided to not do that and to find my own way in a different path. But
Yeah.
that's just because I was like, wow, I gave up so much of my seniority to people who were pretty reckless with respect to, you know, caring about me and what was in my best interest. And I gave them that authority, and I don't want to ever do that again.
Yeah. So you
Wow.
never made it to India?
No, I never
No.
made it to India. The closest I got was Sri Lanka, and
Okay.
that is pretty close to India. But no,
Yeah.
I've never been to India.
Oh, that's
What a
such
tale.
a yeah. It's so amazing. Like the story, I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Never get tired of
Definitely.
hearing it. If you say it all over again, I'm gonna be like, I want to listen to it again.
Well, one time we'll have the version where I tell you the real secrets.
Oh,
but
the
not
real
today.
okay. This is yeah. This is gonna be for like yeah, like only
So
fans only. I
yeah,
always get
The
confused.
OnlyFans.
Only
only
fans
fan.
one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So guys, this is the PG version. Just so you know,
Right.
we just got the PG version right now.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Jane. It was such a fun episode. So
Yeah.
much fun to have you around to talk to us about all the story. Like I know a lot of our followers don't know anything about it. So
That's
guys,
great.
go check the Netflix documentary or not. I mean, even though we're not making any money out of it, thank you,
Exactly.
Netflix.
I will.
So go check it out so you can have an idea about what Jane is talking about. It was so amazing. And then we're gonna try to have you back again, Jane, to talk about
Yes.
your psychic work, your psychic journey, which is
Yeah.
also pretty good, pretty impressive.
Yeah,
Thank you,
maybe
Jen.
not as juicy, or maybe so.
Oh,
Okay.
maybe yeah. I think it's too juicy.
All right. Thank you both for having me. I had a great time.
No, it was great. Thank you, Jane.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you for listening today. May your journey towards spiritual fulfillment never end. Until next time, keep learning, growing, and exploring. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest.